In Toastmasters, we often talk about the relationship between a mentor and a mentee. We emphasize the importance of the communication without minimizing the importance of that part of the relationship. This morning, I'm going to focus on a different facet. And dare I say, a more important part. Most of us have been in a relationship with someone who either coming straight out and saying it, or by the way that they treated us, we know that they expected us to do as they said and not as they did. We must be a good human being before we're a human saying. I'd like you to go on a trip with me. We're going to fly down to the jungles of South America, early 50s. There we will watch unobserved as a 30-something-year-old man has planned to clear part of the jungle for a landing strip. We observe him as he's standing there on a platform next to a tree, reaching as high as he can to begin chopping that tree down. He chops and chops, finally gets through it. The tree falls, but straight down because it's still held up by the vines running through the trees. We observe him as he does that 2 more times until finally all that's left is the trunk and the roots. And then he gets down from the platform and begins to remove those for 1 tree in that forest. The man we've been observing was my dad. What was he teaching by what he did without saying a word? Anybody? Persistence. Persistence. Okay. There are many things in my character that I need to work on, as some of you have so gladly shared with me. But persistence in staying with something that I believe in is not one of those things. It has become a part of my DNA because of the example I've been able to follow. I'm going to share an example with you. When I was the manager of a garage door distribution center here in Vancouver on Columbia Way, it's my understanding at that time that was the largest industrial warehouse complex in the state of Washington, over 1 million square feet of rentable space. Throughout the park was a network of train tracks, so that the tenants there would be able to both ship and receive product via the rail. Each time when the train would come up to a road, they would pause there and make a sound with a pattern similar to this. Knowledge, there was no issue with it. But then it happened. They retired that engine and replaced it with a larger one, which had a horn that produced about 10 times the volume. And my office was about 30 feet from the railroad track. And when they crossed the road, because of the turn of the tracks, that engine and horn was facing directly at my office. I can't express in words how much that affected me emotionally. So I'm going to try this. It reduced me to a piece of quivering flesh until it stopped. I went to the management of the business park there and I said, "Got to do something about this. This is just ridiculous. I can't deal with it." They said, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. It's a federal regulation." So I said, "Well, it is what it is," and just gave up. No. I started researching the regulations put out by the National Railroad Administration. And I found that there were exceptions where it was not required. So I called the NRA, no, not that one, the National Railroad Association, got a rep to come out. And seeing the situation, he was able to say, in this application, sounding the horn is not required because it's a single lane in both directions and they have a flagger that gets off each time as they cross the road. Scheduled a meeting with the management, with the manager there, her assistant, and they invited in a couple of engineers that drove the train. Based on the interaction in that meeting, you would have thought I was trying to destroy the lives of those engineers. They complained about it and they said, we're just doing it for safety. We've got to protect the people that are driving down the street and pedestrians. But the truth, in my opinion, was inside of each of them was a little boy jumping up and down and saying, wanting to blow that horn so that everyone would stop and listen. There was ample discussion in the meeting, but by the end of it, they agreed they would no longer be sounding the horn before they crossed the street. Success? Yes and no. You see, the president of the company I worked for took that as a sign he could ask me to do anything. Because according to him, nobody can stop an engine from blowing its horn. Because today's theme was immortality, I'm going to borrow and modernize a situation described by the one man who conquered death over 2,000 years ago. There was an employer, had a couple of employees, said to him, I need you to go do this job. The first one said, sure, I'll do it, but never showed up. The second one said, I can't do it. But then changed his mind and went and did it. Which one followed the instructions? Which one obeyed the employer? It was the human being, not the human saying.